force in more directions than was ever foreseen.
This is just unbelievable. We're downtown by the towers.
The incredible record-setting 14-foot storm surge hit like a liquid fist, punishing Battery Park City.
Hottest year in the United States.
People are confirmed dead.
Still stuck here, and they are scared because they smell gas in the air.
12-foot storm surge causing extensive flooding.
The eastern seaboard is crippled.
Wildfire in Colorado raging across the state right now, unabated.
2012 was the hottest year in the United States since weather scientists started keeping records.
As we come on the air tonight, Tropical Storm Isaac is lashing.
Idea of how much water is there? Take a look at the top of the stop sign. You could just see it peeking out of the top of the water.
Extreme drought that has much of the country in its grip.
It looked more like the aftermath of a nuclear explosion.
The storm virtually crippled one of the wealthiest and most powerful cities in the world.
It's the worst drought in the nation's breadbasket since at least the 1950s.
It is brutally hot in the American Southwest today. Fires are still blazing in the Rockies and all the places where there isn't flash flooding. The Midwest is struggling with drought conditions, and the memory of last week's extreme heat wave is still fresh in the minds of millions of Americans. And the word tonight from federal government weather experts: get used to it.
And now on to Phoenix tonight. Imagine looking out of your window and seeing this, a giant wall of dust 2,500 feet high. As ABC's Neil Karlinski tells us, it's just the beginning of the extreme weather erupting there.
Between 2011 and 2012, we had 16 months in a row that had higher than normal temperatures.
For starters, polar ice sheets in Greenland are melting at 5 times the pace of just a few years ago.
You look at a map of how the drought has spread throughout the country, you can see a very dry, hot year has really hammered some of the most fertile farmland in America.
So think of it this way. The same storm that plunged the East Coast into darkness was today causing 60-mile-an-hour winds as far away as Gary, Indiana. The storm's being felt in Wisconsin. Red flag fire warnings are posted from Kansas all the way west to California. Antarctica is melting.
Just how incredible this has been, how this fire has completely razed entire neighborhoods and really destroyed so many lives.
There's more where all that came from.
Climate change is now an official scam. Global warming, climate change, it's a hoax. It's a fraud. The last year has established that the whole premise of global warming is a hoax.
Now we've gone 16 years without global warming, according to the UN data.
Well, I guess that should not come as much of a surprise, considering that the vanquished vice president doesn't think there's room for debate on climate change. I do. The debate's over. There's no global warming. And that is the news tonight from Hannity's America.
And so there's also the hoax of saying that no one disagrees and that everyone agrees that global warming is real. Everything this group says is a fraud, but they're following the rule of Hitler. The bigger the lie, the more people will believe it.
How did I know global warming's a hoax? Because of who's behind pushing it. Liberals, they lie.
In the back of the book segment tonight, could aliens attack us Earthlings over the global warming situation?
In fact, there might not even be any warming, period. All based on a hoax, all based on a fraud, all based on global warming.
Look at the satellite data. We actually have had no significant warming since 1998. Actually, no warming. We've been cooling in recent years.
Global warming, you think that's trumped up by people out there who want to get on the green agenda?
Well, I'm old enough to remember, Brian, that when people were predicting there was going to be the next ice age. So there is climate change. There's always been climate change.
Global warming is a scam.
But now those that buy this hoax always use the phrase climate change. And that way they can claim they were right, even as global temperatures to continue to plummet year after year.
We'll realize that there is no global warming of significance, and we'll have the last laugh.
But the temperature, all of it was lies. There isn't any global warming. I mean, even the NASA people, they're now trying to explain why the cooling is taking place, and they're trying to come up with all kinds of lies and escape hatch reasons why there isn't any warming. It's some temporary thing. There is no global warming. It's getting colder.
Between 2011 and 2012, we had 16 months in a row that had higher than normal temperatures. The U.S. has never seen a stretch like that since the U.S. government began keeping temperature records in 1895.
We may be in for some adventure.
In the first 8 months of this year, the U.S. recorded 10 weather events costing $1 billion or more, a new record. From the Groundhog Day blizzard to the destruction in Joplin, Missouri, to Hurricane Irene, the damage topping $45 billion.
We've been talking about the weather a lot this year. We have. Mother Nature has been going to extremes. First, the heat. Almost 1,000 records have been set. As heat waves baked our cities, droughts charred our plains. Winds were merciless. Tornadoes killed 544 people and spread destruction across 21 states, as far north as Massachusetts. Rains, too, were relentless. 2 major rivers flooded the Midwest. Hurricane Irene drenched the Atlantic seaboard, but saved its worst for Vermont.
Oh, my God.
It is official. 2012 was the hottest year in the United States.
That for the past 15 years, there's been no statistically significant warming. Now, this is crucial. This is why Al Gore is in the Witness Protection Program. This is why nobody can find Al Gore.
This headline may come as a bit of a surprise. For the last 11 years, we have not observed any increase in global temperatures, and our climate models did not.
It turns out that there was a conspiracy that was being conducted and still is being conducted by criminals with doctoral degrees, gangsters in the academic fields who were making millions and millions of dollars on grants to continue pushing the global warming myth. This myth has been brutally exposed.
Including Washington, D.C., where a lack of action...
Well, just as the nanny state readies for banning all things hot, comes a chilling report on climate change suggesting we're heading into a mini ice age.
You can see that on the stalks are ears of corn that are no longer growing. Even rain today through the rest of the month will not salvage some of these fields because, quite frankly, these ears of corn haven't...
Little ice age. But it emphasizes how poorly understood all these climate issues really are.
When the crops failed, babies died, so they burned the witch next door because they knew her lifestyle did it. Only recently, as this doomsday cult started burning SUVs, it's just sure that they caused the mild warming that ended 10 years ago. So
it's nothing but a green mafia, and it's time to recognize them for the Nazis they are. You study the green movement after Germany fell with Hitler. The eugenicists started the green movement here in the U.S. and England, as you know, Mark. And I've made the film Endgame, Blueprint for Global Enslavement. And they said, we've got to now pose as environmentalist and conservationist so we can take control of society and teach people they're bad so we can have one-child policies. And that's what they've done. And we need to really recognize just how purely wicked and evil these obese, demonic man-bear pigs are. Your comments on that?
Does it go, anywhere close to the climate change debate that's underway here on Earth? I mean, if the moon had erupting volcanoes a few years ago, a few million years ago, however you want to put it, it's not like we've been up there burning fossil fuels. No,
You want to talk about the fake global warming, and Al Gore should be running and hiding right now. He should actually be running out of America right now. Now that Al Gore has been found out to be the biggest fraud artist in over hundreds of years, he makes the alleged 5 mafia families of New York of yesteryear look like paupers compared to what he's gotten away with, this guy, in my opinion. The man is a complete and total faker.
We call it subprime science. The whole movement has collapsed. It was shown to be subprime science, subprime economics, and subprime politics.
Remember the one of the polar bears on the ice floating? A staged event. There's as much ice on the earth today overall as there was 50 years ago. But your child, your delicate young lotus blossom child, who you raised as a vegan, who doesn't eat anything with a face on it, believes in global warming, believes Obama is the Messiah, believes this, believes that, starves herself to death with vegan diets she doesn't understand, deficient in various vitamins, her brain chemistry is off day and night, doesn't know a thing, but she's convinced she knows about global warming.
We're exposing this hoax right now. This hoax, the biggest in history, is now imploding before our very eyes.
Mark Levin, America's Paul Revere. Call him now at 877-381-3811.
Actually, what you are to me is what dog crap is to my sneaker. Thank you not for your call. The environmental movement is Leninist. That's what I said, and it's exactly right. It's the 1960s New Left nut jobs all wrapped into one. Now, it's these crummy, creepy little bums who've aligned themselves with Obama and Reid and Pelosi.
And there ain't nothing I can do about it.
Then what the hell are we supposed to do? He's one of the most destructive, both in terms of his language, his verbal skills, and in terms of his policies of any president we've ever had. Yes, I've been hammering away at this for quite a long time.